So this is Elena Volkova, and I will now show you improvements in model compiler implemented for this sprint. So first, I would like to talk about state names. Sometimes in the models, we have nested state machine with nested states. For example, in this example, we have a top state, and now it has two nested 1, nested 2, and each nested state has got a state called do work. And actually, both states, nested 1 has this do work, and nested 2 has a state with the same name. So this is actually can be a common situation, and in that case, when developer needs to dump state names, actually the default function which will be printing state names on the screen. So I will now build and show you in the code view how I was trying to dump the names of the states. So we have the standard function get current state string, which returns the current name of the state. And I will now build. Also, I will check here. Yes, so now the define is okay for this user defined state debug log. So I will build, and actually I will start debugging, so we can check how this will look like. What is happening? We can check in the console. So it's now building, and the debugger will be started. So the problem is that if you have the same nested states with the same name, actually these default functions that are printing state names, they just print the name itself without the hierarchy. And sometimes it's difficult to distinguish, and engineer, he has to search for the parent states and add computation of the state names. Okay, so now I think yes, so we are in the debug mode, and I will run. Actually, I have in this example on the port, I have a signal step which switches from one nested state to another. So I will just send it a couple of times, maybe in yes. So now we see how it looks like. Actually, now this is the improvement that we have made during this sprint. Now all the state names, they contain the hierarchy, and this is actually how it looks like when you turn on the new flag. So this on the code generation tab, we have this new option. And now it is experimental because we are changing the names of the states which are used in target RTS during during signals consumption, and for different checks, and in the debugger, in the sometimes in some output messages. So we need to do more careful tests for this new feature. So that's why for this sprint, this is experimental. So if this feature is turned on, then state names will look like this. And actually also note that here, this is a message about the signal cannot be received. And also in this message, you get a full path to the state. So if I will now remove this and we can check how it will look like by default without this new features. So I will now debug as, and it will run, I think it should run compilation once again. It's building, and now it is starting. Okay, so I will do the same. I will send this signal twice. Maybe from the events view I can do this. Send event, and once again. And now we have the same behavior, but you see that state names are short. And actually, it's hard to understand in which state we received this unexpected message. So the difference in the generated code is in the here in the CPP files. We have this table called Rtg State Names, and the only difference in the generated code is in this table. So this is how it looks like without the option, but if you will turn on the option, then all these state names will be fully qualified. And also, so now let's try to do this once again, and also I will show you, we will try now one more option how we can dump state names. So now we want these fully qualified state names, and also we have an option to use Rtg State Entry. So this is a function which redefines the function from RT actor state, and it will be called each time you enter a state. So actually you don't need to print to add this debug print to every state, but now let's try to use this global Rtg State Entry. So I will stop this debug, and now I will also add update target configuration to try to see how it will look like with this global function. So now and we will debug once again. So this Rtg State Entry, it's a virtual function, and we are redefining the default behavior, which doesn't print anything. Now, by adding this virtual function, I'm redefining the default behavior for the actor, RT actor class, each time you enter a state. So now I'm doing the same, and I will in the events view send these events. Yes, so you see now we have much more information printed on the screen, and all of this is done only by one addition of this Rtg State Entry. You see that the state names, they are fully qualified, and actually through this we are actually entering the top state and also all nested states. So you will get this message for all states in the state hierarchy. And as well, this message, it also contains fully qualified state name, which is convenient for debugging purposes. So please note that this is an experimental feature, so we will continue working on it during next sprint.